That's true.
Speaking of television, the guy that I'm more and more impressed every time I learn something about him. First of all, he went to the School of Performing Arts in New York City. That requires an audition just to get into high school. And he did it in the clarinet. Arnold Dean was also an excellent clarinet player who skipped going into the Air Force Band so he could go to a little place called Syracuse University. What a choice. At any rate, he also went to NBC, which I didn't know until today, talking to him. One of the regular boobs, too. I'm very proud of that. Here's Jim Stewart.
Thank you, Will. And I feel like the comedian at 3 o'clock in the morning when there are a couple of drunks left in the room. You get the microphone, so good luck. But anyway.
Yeah, make you laugh.
I used to bat harder than this in the batting order, I'll tell you that. I just want to, first of all, echo something Larry DeBear said at the very beginning of all of this. Today is a very special day in our country, as we all know. And it was a very emotional day for a lot of people. And one of the reasons my dear wife and I, Linda, were late, it wasn't to make a grand entrance after the proceedings had begun. We go to Holy Trinity Church a couple of blocks away where I am fortunate enough to be the lector, and we had a special mass today to remember all of those folks who lost their lives on that day and people who are still losing from that day. So I apologize for being late. But I did my resume a number of times here. I'm going to just run it down because you're going to say, boy, this guy's old. I mean, I hit Hartford in 1963 at the ripe young age of 25 and joined the studio crew and worked at the station, was promoted to director, producer director, production manager, and ultimately executive producer of the station. I'm blessed. We're all blessed. This is family. We had a very special thing there that just does not exist anymore, I don't believe, in any business. If it does, I'm not aware of where it does. But had a wonderful 11 years with the Travelers and spent 7 more with, as the late Randy Scalise would say, the Post-Toasties. They were not the happiest 7 years of my life, but I have to say I was blessed. They were good to me. I got to do an awful lot of really good things at the station during that 7 years. I also was part of the group that put ESPN on the air on a freelance basis, and also Arnold Chase asked me to put Fox 61 on the air, and we did the opening night program from the old Hartford Hilton, which no longer stands, with Bob Steele and with Eddie Albert hosting, and boy, that was a trip to work with Eddie Albert. I had to have scotch on hand or he wouldn't go near the mic. And we had the Hartford Symphony and did a great show there. We had President Carter on as well. And then Arnold, when they decided to do a 10 o'clock news, asked me to direct that, and Pat Sheehan and I did that as freelancers for the first 7 years. So that's my broadcast career. But since last year, the last time I did a resume, I've had 2, I guess, achievements. I just completed 30 years with Cigna Corporation as Director of Media. And I just completed my 22nd year. For you announcers, I do a radio program, and I've done it for Chris Radio, the radio network for the blind, for the past 22 years, every Friday and Saturday morning. So that's enough about me. That's who I am. I'm going to be quick because it's late and it's been a long afternoon. Just a couple of stories, and everybody has their Bob Steele story. And by the way, I went to one of Phil's presentations, Linda and I did, at I think it was Manchester Library, and it is worth seeing and doing, and the amount of research that you guys must have done was staggering. I know Phil and I spent some time after Bob left us looking at pictures, trying to identify pictures. I know Phil was beginning to put that project together. It's an amazing project about an amazing guy. And my Steele story goes like this. It has nothing to do with anything that happened in broadcast hours. I used to live, for a number of years, I lived on Cotwell Drive, which is right around the corner from where Bob and the Steele family lived. And as you know, Bob got up in the middle of the night whenever it snowed and went in and did the cancellations. And we had a snowstorm predicted on one occasion, and he said to me, "You can ride in with me," you know. So I did. I got up whatever time it was pitch dark at night in the snow, walked around the corner, and his car, which I believe was the big car, you know, he loved cars, he was a car guy, was full of snow. So I started to brush the snow off. He's, no, get in the car, we'll take care of that. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, so he backs out of the driveway onto Walcott Hill Road, guns the car, slams the brakes on, the snow flies off. He says, "See, we didn't have to do that." Well, we went to work, so that's my That's as true as could be. Bob, you know that if you hear that.
It was a Buick.
Yeah, he was a big Buick guy, I know that. And Dick Bertel, everybody's talked about the fact that this has to be the easiest guy in the world to break up. But on one particular, I think it was a Saturday Night News, and I don't know why you had a story like this, one of those dopey stories that somebody decided to put in there. But apparently, late in the newscast, Dick did this story about two police officers who had gone on duty, and they got into an altercation over who would drive the patrol car that night. And they got into a fight and got physical and beat the hell out of each other, and he fell apart. Howie Smith and a couple of the camera guys were laying on the floor. We were in tears in the control room. You know, the peacekeepers beating each other up over a silly thing like who's going to drive the car. So that was my Bertel breakup story. There were others, but I won't go there. But I want to close with a story that I think is a beautiful one. And standing in this room, as you know, Bob Ellsworth was a member. Linda and I had the blessing to spend many a happy time in this evening in this room with Bob and his lovely wife. And but when we lost Bob near the end of his life, and when things were getting tough for him, I had the honor of spending a lot of time with him, and hopefully doing some things to make it easier for him. But the story I want to leave you with, and I think Bill has heard this, I know Arnold has. Linda and I went to visit Bob. It turned out, unbeknownst to us, it would be 2 days before he left us. He was at what used to be called the Britain General, I don't know what they call it now, but that hospital. And we had a nice evening with him. He was hurting, you know, physically hurting, but being Bob, he mustered up the strength to laugh a little and talk a little and ask about us. We were in the process of buying a new home, and he wanted to know all about that. And then at the end of our visit, he started to snooze a little, and you could tell he was a little tired. And we said, you know, we're gonna leave, Bob. And as you all know, Bob ended every show with his salute. And excuse me. First of all, before we get there, while we were getting ready to leave, a young woman came in to give him some medication. And she's a young girl, and Bob was kibitzing with her, and I said, do you know who this guy is? And she said, no. I said, he's big. He's really big. So Bob looks up at her and looks at me and said, he's my agent. But then the beauty moment. As we were saying our goodnight, I went to the foot of the bed, and we said goodnight. We gave him a kiss. And I was standing at the foot of the bed, and as weak as he was, 2 days away from leaving this earth, he very slowly raised his hands and threw me a highball. And I saluted him back. And that's the last time that I saw Bob alive. So I just wanted to leave you with that. We talked a lot about a lot of people today who we've lost. The group gets smaller. This is family. And I'm so proud and happy to be a part of that family. And I'll also say something that Al Terzi said. Everybody that I worked with over the years gave me something. So if I was any good at what I did, it's because of all of you and a lot of people who are not in this room anymore. So thank you very much. God bless all of you, and God bless America.
I think that's probably the perfect ending of the afternoon. And Dave will set the date when he can make the arrangements for the year 2013. And at our stage in life, I hope as many people who are here right now can join us then. I plan to be here, and I hope you all do too. So Dave, any additional remarks? If not, don't forget to turn in your badges so we haven't got to pay for them all over again. I don't need those thinking badges. But we do. We need these, and we want to save them for the next go-around. See you in 2013, if not sooner.